we saw Ishant bowling quite a lot in the nets today. How's he looking in terms of his fitness?
He looked pretty normal. I mean, before he got injured, pretty similar to how he was bowling before the ankle injury. And yeah, he's hitting good areas again. Obviously, he's got a lot of experience. So he's played in New Zealand before a couple of times, and definitely his experience will be something that will be very useful for us in this series. And yeah, really good to see him bowling with pace and in good areas.
Virat, how different are an opposition, like are New Zealand and opposition in Test cricket? They like play the long game, they're kind of different. So how do you approach that, like in comparison to say Australia or England?
It's not different at all. It's international cricket. Every team needs to be treated in the same manner. Basically, what we do is we focus on our strengths. It doesn't matter how much patience the opposition has. We obviously have to show more patience than them. So we can't really prepare in a manner that New Zealand might be more patient than other teams and then put pressure on us. I think we have prepared in a manner where our fitness levels are such and our concentration levels are such now that we can compete against anyone, anywhere in the world. And that's the kind of confidence we're going to carry into this series as well. If the opposition plays the waiting game, we're going to play the waiting game. If they counter-attack, we have opportunities to take wickets and score runs, vice versa. So, yeah, look, we are going to adapt to what comes in front of us rather than having a set template against any team that we play.
So what are your expectations from the opening group considering the
I think Prithvi, you can call him relatively inexperienced. Mayank, I wouldn't call him that inexperienced now because he scored a lot of runs last year. So he understands what his game is like in Test cricket. I think in white ball cricket, sometimes you can try to do too much. But when you come to red ball cricket, then you obviously fall into the disciplined mode of batting, which obviously suits him much more at this stage. Prithvi is a very talented player, so he has his own game, and we want him to follow his instinct and play the way he does. So yeah, look, these guys have no baggage. These guys are not desperate in any manner to perform here, or they don't have any nerves in terms of wanting to do well overseas because they haven't done well in the past or something like that. So I think with a clear head, as Mayank played in Australia, hopefully Prithvi can do the same in New Zealand, and Mayank can carry forward that as well. A bunch of new guys, they play with a lot of fearlessness and something that can really motivate the whole team and give us the kind of starts that we want and not be intimidated by the opposition in any way.
Just want to ask you a question about the schedule also. We've played a lot, and you are playing all formats and so much of cricket. David Warner recently said that after 2021 World T20, he might have to take a call on one of the formats. I'm not asking about. My question is like that: have you ever given a thought that maybe after a certain stage, probably the way you love Test cricket, you'd like to at least get rid of one format or maybe play two formats to elongate your career?
Yeah, look, it's not a conversation that is to hide away from in any manner. I think it's been 9 years now, or eight years now, that I've been playing almost 300 days a year. So with the traveling and all of that, with practice sessions and intensity is right up there all the time. So it does take a toll on you. I'm not saying that it's not something that the players are thinking about. If you see, we do choose to take a lot more breaks now individually, even though the schedule might not allow you to. So you're going to see a lot of that in future from many players, not just myself, especially the guys who play all three formats. It's not that easy. Then being captain and having intensity in practice sessions and discussing the game. And so it does take a toll on you. I'm not in that space at the moment. Periodic breaks for me seems to work pretty okay. At a time where the body doesn't respond as well, maybe when I'm 34, 35, you might have a different conversation at that stage. But I think for the next 2-3 years, I have no issues at all. Can keep going on with the same intensity, and also understanding that the team wants a lot of my contribution in the next 2-3 years so that we can ease into another transition that we faced about 5-6 years ago. So yeah, the mindset is obviously on the larger picture, and from that point of view, I am preparing myself for a rigorous 3 years from now, and then after that, we might have a different conversation.
You normally play in closed stadiums. Suddenly, it's a test match. Win plays a big part here and so forth. What are some of the factors you have to think about as a captain and personally as a batsman playing in New Zealand, especially when it's so open?
Yeah, I think wind in this stadium more tthan any other stadium in the world, plays a massive, massive role. Choosing bowlers accordingly, who bowls into the wind, who bowls, with the wind. So these are kind of things that you need to think as a captain. If the breeze is blowing across the stadium, then who is more effective with the in-swinger, with the out-swinger? So these kind of things you need to think as a captain. But I think as a batsman, the only thing is that the ball might not travel in the air a lot more when you're hitting against the wind. So you need to be prepared to run a lot more. That's something that we experienced last time. And if you have a very light bat, then you're in trouble. So, you need to be firm with your stance and where your bat is, because it can really swing around. I experienced that last time, but it's not that big a change, but something that you do need to be wary of, yes.
Virat, if I could just talk from a New Zealand point of view, it's a milestone game for Ross Taylor, the first player to play 100 internationals in all three formats. Could you give me your assessment of him as a test player?
Well, he's been pretty successful. He's one of the guys that has made impact performances for New Zealand. I've been fortunate enough to play with him in RCB. Lovely guy, get along really well, and really hardworking. He's a very keen thinker of the game. Not many people might know that, or he might not come across as a guy who's too involved in the game, but he does understand the game very, very well. And that's the only way you can play so long across all formats. And as you said, the only guy to play 100 games over three formats. So, yeah, it's a great occasion for him. I congratulate him. It's been a wonderful career for him. I'm sure he'll want to keep going for as long as he can, so that the younger lot can sort of learn and, again, transition into the role that he's played. But yeah, it's a great achievement, and he truly deserves it.
How would you describe the challenge of playing New Zealand in a Test series at home, and how would you sort of compare that to Australia and England and England?
I saying this in a negative manner, but the crowd plays a massive role in England and Australia as well. So you need to be in a zone where you need to be feisty and counter that as well from all angles. But I think in New Zealand, it's all about cricket discipline and what the team brings on the field. They're very intense. They're obviously very, very fit guys, and they can keep going all day and test your patience. Really skilled with what they do as bowlers and batsmen, and obviously brilliant fielders as well. So they don't give you a lot within the game to sort of bank on or pounce on. So you need to be wary of the chances that come your way and be focused enough to capitalize on those. So yeah, I think it takes a lot more concentration on the field rather than dealing with things off the field in New Zealand. And that's also a good thing for the players to be in that kind of zone where you can just focus on the cricket and not the extra stuff that's not required. And both teams, I'm sure, will play quality cricket. So it'll be a good series to be a part of. I'm sure people will enjoy watching it because both teams are very skilled. We are not the same team that we used to be. We have a very complete squad now. So we will definitely be in there, and we will definitely be waiting for opportunities so that we can capitalize on them and win games of cricket. Well, look, it can happen. It can happen, as I said before, the tour started as well. It can happen. Kane's leadership was questioned, and these things pop up pretty quickly. So having been in those situations myself, I can tell you that it's not that alarming a situation for any team. Things can turn around pretty quickly. You saw in the ODI series, we lost 3-0. Didn't look like that before we started the series. So if you gain momentum at the right time, you can play some very good cricket. Playing at home, obviously, they'll have more control of what they do as a group. So they will understand their plans much better. But what happened in Australia, it's from within the team point of view and knowing the atmosphere of the change room, it's not that alarming a situation. The players hurt more than anyone. So I think as long as people realize that and let the team have some breathing space and get back into things, then it's all worth it, because you don't have a group of 60 players to choose from. You have a lot of 25 that are taking cricket forward, and I think those people need to be given a bit more space.
We'll take two more questions in English and then in Hindi.
Just the Test Championship has obviously been in place for a bit now. Do you think, taking a bit of a holistic view of it, that it's lived up to what they wanted to get in place with that sort of championship? And with the discussion about potentially more ICC events coming in, is that potentially going to underline the Test Championship?
I think it has made Test cricket more exciting. That's something that we have experienced as a side. Although we haven't had too many games where, to be honest, we played at home a lot. Couple of tests in the West Indies, so we didn't have, tour of Australia with the Test Championship or England, or this is our first, away tour since the home season. So I'm sure the games are going to be pretty intense, and teams are going to go for results rather than settling for draws, which is what you need to see in Test cricket. I think the series in South Africa was pretty exciting with England and South Africa. South Africa winning the first one, then England winning the Cape Town Test the way they did in the last hour. So I think you will see a lot more results like that because of the points that are on the line. And I think Test Championship as an ICC tournament should be right up there. All the other tournaments, for me, they start under that. And this is probably going to be the biggest of them all. And every team wants to make it to the finals at Lord's, and we are no different. And we are in that zone. We want those points, and we want to make sure that we qualify as soon as we can, and then be in that frame of mind to hopefully win that.
Yeah, Virat, are you close to finalizing the 11, like Pant and Saha and Ashwin or Jadeja? Okay, are you close to deciding your 11?
Yeah, we're pretty close. We'll be fine in an hour, I think. Hour or two.
Yeah.
विराट यहाँ पे जितने लोकल एक्सपर्ट से बात कर रहे हैं तो वो बोल रहे हैं कि न्यूजीलैंड में इंडिया का इससे बढ़िया पेस अटैक कभी नहीं आया है और कई लोग ये भी करें जो लोकल क्रिकेट्स को जान रहे हैं बोल रहे हैं कि ये एक ऐसी पिच है जहाँ पर हो सकता है कि आप स्पिनर नहीं भी बनाए क्या पॉसिबिलिटी आपके पास जैसे 4 वर्ल्ड क्लास फास्ट बॉलर हैं चारों जा सकते हैं या इस विकेट पे आपको लगता है कि नहीं ये स्पिनर जाएंगे
आपको आई नो कि ये एक सिचुएशन है. अगर आप वो पिच को जोहानिसबर्ग टाइप पिच की बात करें तो उस पर ये पॉसिबिलिटी होती है. हमारी टीम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हमारी टीम के पास उतनी स्किल है कि हम 3 फास्ट बॉलर के साथ भी हम दूसरी टीम आउट कर सकते हैं. लेकिन एक आपको बीच में एक वर्ल्ड क्लास स्पिनर की काफ़ी ज़रूरत रहती है, क्योंकि जिस स्पिनर के पास स्किल है वो किसी भी विकेट्स पिच पे विकेट्स लेने की एबिलिटी रखते हैं. तो हम लोग होम टीम का कॉम्बिनेशन कॉपी नहीं करेंगे, हम अपनी स्ट्रेंथ से स्टिक करेंगे और उसमें जो हमारा बेस्ट बैलेंस बन सकता है, जो हमारा मोस्ट लीथल बॉलिंग अटैक हो सकता है और बैटिंग में जो बैलेंस बन सकता है, हम वो लेके जाएंगे फील्ड में. और हम उससे बिलीफ रखेंगे कि हम इस बॉलिंग अटैक से, इस बैटिंग लाइनअप से मैच जीत सकते हैं. तो बाकी जो पहला पॉइंट है, मैं टोटली एग्री करता हूँ कि हमारा बॉलिंग अटैक पिछले टूर से बहुत अलग है एक्सपीरियंस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, और बहुत ज़्यादा एक एज अ ग्रुप जो बॉलिंग ये लोग कर रहे हैं वो पहले हमने इतनी नहीं देखी है, और इसीलिए हमने ज़्यादा टीमों को ऑल आउट किया है पिछले 2-2.5 साल में. और आई एम श्योर कि वो लोग सेम यहाँ भी रिपीट करना चाहेंगे.
Thank you, Captain.
Ross, you're about to open a club of one, a unique position, first man to play 100 internationals. Give us a sense of what it feels like here.
Yeah, I guess it's a proud milestone. Probably more so the test than that. It's nice to be the first, but it's probably more timing where I've come in my career. 2020 started in 2005, and I played my first game in 2006. But no, it's I guess nice to start the club. But I'm sure over a few years, over the next few years, there's going to be a lot more to join it in time.
How have you been able to sustain it?
No, I mean I love playing. I love playing cricket first and foremost. It was something I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid, and I think it's not a job. It's something that you love doing, and it's a few warm-ups, and hopefully there's still a few more warm-ups left in me to come.
Nice to do it at a Premier New Zealand ground as well, rather than outside New Zealand.
Yeah, I think so. I think growing up in Masterton is nice for mum and dad, and a lot of people have been very influential in my career to just catch a train or drive over the hill. The Basin is one of the first grounds I've ever come and watch a cricket game at. So, it has a lot of, fond memories for me, but, at the end of the day, it's probably a nice time to thank people who have helped me along the way. But at the same time, there's still a game of cricket to be played, and I guess the celebrations and all that other stuff that comes with it will hopefully come after the match.
What's the key to beating India in this series?
I think the world's best side, and and leading the World Championship. I think we've got to be to win Test matches. You've got to be good at all three facets. You've got to take your catches, regardless of what you do first out here at the base. It normally does a little bit early on, and if anything, it just depends on how long that goes for. If we're stuck in, or if we stick India in, or even if we think it's not going to do as much and have a bat first, you just got to do it well. And more often than not, day 2 and day 3 are the best time to bat. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it's a world-class Indian side all the way through. And probably the biggest thing about this Indian side and how well I've played over the last few years, I've always had world-class batters and the odd world-class bowler. But I think their seam attack has been fantastic for a long period of time, and the way we play them and the way they bowl is going to have a big influence on the series, I'm sure.
When was the first time you thought that 100 Test is a possibility, and what is the most exciting part of this journey?
I'm not sure. Probably maybe two years ago. David White normally comes in and gives us a bit of a talk about what games are coming up, and you start doing the maths. And he actually said, "Ross, this is going to be your 100th Test in Sydney." But obviously, what happened in Christchurch last year with the shootings at the mosque, it moved things back a game. But no, I think things happen for a reason, I believe in, and it's nice for it to happen back home. I don't know how many people would have travelled to Sydney for it, so it's nice for it to be here.
And what's the most exciting part of this long journey?
I think just the whole journey in itself. I think there's so many ups and downs as a cricketer. I've had some pretty highs and some pretty low lows. So being able to deal with that the whole way through your career, I wouldn't put one thing that outweighs anything. Just playing the whole journey, I think.
Ross, given those highs and lows, did you ever see yourself getting this a lengthier career?
No, I always sort of said to myself, I don't know how long ago, but I always thought 2019 World Cup was not a bad place to sort of start thinking about that R word. But no, I still feel like I'm good enough and got a lot more to offer this team, both on and off the field, and I'm still as hungry as ever to score runs. But no, as I said, after my first series, I wouldn't have been putting much money on me playing 100 Tests after that series, that's for sure. But no, I'm happy with what's happened today.
Do you think back on those early days much?
Yeah, I think so. I think that shapes you as a person and as a player. Sometimes it's not necessarily the runs you get in the good times. It's how you deal with the failures along the way that shape you. As a person, as the way you go about your training, and as yourself as a teammate. Sometimes it's the negative things that make you harder and stronger and more resilient, and that's what you need to be, I think, to be a Test player.
If there was any advice that Ross Taylor now would give young Ross Taylor, what might it be?
I got asked this question last night, so I better answer it the same as I answered it last night. How I answered it last night for the BBC was, I think it was actually around my training. I think being as specific as I am now at my training to where I was turning up to a net and just batting. There's a lot more to cricket and the way you go about it. But at the same time, it goes back to how I answered the question before. It's almost you've had to have failed a few times to work that out as well. So train better, but at the same time, there's a lot of little steps along the way to get there.
You were the first to reach it across all formats, but quite a few Kiwis have got to run the Test before. Have you had any dialogue, any messages from the guys leading into this one?
I just got a call from Brendan before we got here, saying all the best. He said do better than he did. I don't know what he got in his game and things. So I asked if there's any tips on how to deal with tickets and things like that. But no, there's quite. But no, I got a message from Vittoria last night as well. So it's obviously a special club to join, and it's nice to hear from fellow players who have obviously been there and done that.
What's the message from your family?
Message from the family. I don't know if I've got enough tickets for them all. They're all coming out of the woodwork, for the old coaches and things like that. But no, I'm sure, as I said before, I think this is a nice time to celebrate them and what they've done for my career. I think my celebrating comes after the test match. This is just thank them for all the sacrifices that they've made. Coaches, all the billeting, probably hockey coaches as well. So.
We'll just try and stand dependent and touch it.
Well, Ross, since you first of all, congratulations on your milestone. What is this about this New Zealand wicket? Why it is, like, according to the data, it favors heavily towards bowling second? So why batting first is tough on this kind of thing?
Just have to look at the wicket. It's like this artificial. It's pretty green. But as I said, I think we play well at home because we sort of know how the wicket's going to play, and at the same time, the basin out of all the wickets, they look the same, but they do play slightly differently each time. And being the home team, you still got to adapt what's in front of you. As I said, I think there's many times where we're bowled first where it's done a lot and probably done too much. And at the same time, we've been put in on wickets that have done plenty but still succeeded. So there is still room for four things to happen in terms of succeeding. We'll just have to wait and see what the weather's going to be like over the next little while. And but there's always a tinge of green and the fast bowlers and I'm sure those Indian fast bowlers will be liking it because I played on a few wickets in India and they don't look anything like that out there.
Ross, you spoke about how you think more people will enter this 100 club, but given the domestic leagues going around, do you honestly believe that people will get to a stage where they're able to play 100 matches in each form?
No, I think so. I think I definitely won't be the only one. But I guess, the way you ask the question, I suppose, it's a nice thing because there is a lot of players around the world who do give up a format or to prolong their career, and I guess that's nice for me. I've always loved playing all three, but some players, I think it's the best thing for me is to play all three formats, and to have played the 2020s, even though they weren't successful, it was nice to see the Indian bowlers leading into the one-day series, where if you just played two formats, it wouldn't have been easy. Whether I've scored those runs or not, I'm not sure. But I guess in the day and age where players do give up a format, it's nice to be the first. But at the same time, I do think there is room for a lot more players, and I'm sure there's probably the two captains who are out there will probably be right up on the list, I'm sure.
Go up the back to Gareth.
Ross, you mentioned about the wicket. Do you have a different mindset? You've played so much here at first innings if you bat first, or do you have a different mindset? And in terms of personally, and also in terms of team, do you feel like you can almost catch up to the game, or does it get away from you given the first innings is pretty low scoring?
Yeah, as I said, there's still been times where we've been chucked in, where we've still been able to scrap to 350, 400. You just got to adapt to the conditions. Play what's in front of you, and quite often it can do a little bit too much, and you can't survive. The length, sometimes when bowlers are under just as much pressure as the batters to bowl the right lengths and make the players, play as much, but at the same time, you can, because it also does bounce, so your margin for error becomes smaller also. So that's a nice thing about, as I said before, playing the basin. We'll just have to wait and see what it is. Hey, it might only do something for a little bit. Might do something for 2 days. We'll just have to wait and see.
We'll just go down the front and back through the end.
Ross, speaking about the pictures again, we've seen over the last...
I don't know that much about them, but...
we've seen over the last 5-6 years that they've tended to flatten out quite a bit, and it's like you get really long second innings, Angelo Matthews and Kushal Mendes and stuff like that. Why does that happen, you think, and how does a team, especially New Zealand, you play so much on these pitches, what do you do to stay in the game and be able to win them?
Yeah, obviously that partnership. I think Kane Williamson, when he got 240 odd not out, Brendan's 300. As I said before, sometimes a day 3 and 4 are are the best times to bat. So how you limit the damage or how you go in those first innings can be the key. But the other thing here is the grass. I mean, it can be green, but the grass is thin. Obviously, it's not going to do as much for a long period of time. But if there is thick grass, it tends to hold in there just a little bit more. So sorry if we're talking about this pitch. I haven't had a look at it. I just walked in, and so I don't know if it's long or thin grass. But as I said, we'll just have to wait and see what it's like. And the bowlers, the opening batters, I can remember Peter Fulton, our batting coach, when we got chucked in one time, was the cameraman panned to him and he swore when we lost the toss. So hopefully our opening batters don't have to do that in time.
Just coming up the Australian series, how determined are the team to sort of, I guess, redeem themselves this time round?
Yeah, I mean, it has been mentioned. Obviously we didn't play as well as we would have liked over there. We went over there with high expectations, but in saying that, it's nice to try and, I guess, get back on the horse, so to speak. But in saying that, we know New Zealand conditions are a lot better than Australian conditions, and that's one of the tougher places to play cricket at the moment. I think we know these conditions more a bit against a world-class side in itself. But no, I think we'll definitely put up a better showing than we did in Australia.
One from Mumra for Beck and then one from the floor.
Ross, for India to win recent test matches, Bumrah has played an integral part in this Indian team. So how do you assess Bumrah and the Indian bowling attack, and what will be the key of handling Bumrah and the Indian bowling, fast bowling?
Yeah, I think if we just look at Bumrah, I think we're in trouble. I think their whole bowling lineup has been fantastic. You don't have to look too far when they played in not necessarily similar conditions, but as close to New Zealand and Australia, they were fantastic. Obviously, Sharma coming back brings a new dynamic to their team, and they've got a world-class batting lineup as well that we have to get through. But they're the number one team in the world for a reason, and we know we have to be on our game to be successful against them.
Last couple guys. Dewey.
So the Test Championship has had a bit of time to settle in by now. Just a couple of overall thoughts about how it's actually ingrained itself to fans and to players. And maybe the second part of that is talk about ICC maybe adding another competition into the schedule. Does that risk undermining the Test Championship in any way?
I see the headlines of that new trophy. I don't know exactly what it is, but no, I think any time you bring in this, I think the intentions are right. There's probably still a few teething issues to go with it, with the points system and whatnot, but it has brought context to cricket, which is probably what ICC were after. Is it the ideal situation at the moment? Probably not, but I think it's a lot better than where it was before we had nothing. We need to start winning some games if we want to think of making that final, and I guess that starts on Friday.